Hey parents, welcome to another one of the Brab private sessions. I'm Aaron Huey. Thank you so much for being here with me on this platform. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting your family. And thanks for being a loyal listener. I appreciate that. And as always, all of these sessions are designed not as interviews, not just as here's what Aaron thinks, but these are the skills. These are the tools, the tricks, the tactics, the techniques that we used when we ran a treatment center that I have taught parents for 18 years and still to this day, as I work one-on-one with families or with a lot of young men recently. A lot of the early 20-somethings is a big part of my clientele recently. But as I work with teens, young men, and little kids, these are the tactics, tricks, tools, and techniques. These are the skills that I personally use. And I want to talk today about one thing. This one thing, and I'm going to call it the one thing strategy. This one isn't even in my parenting masterclass, which you can find at brabapp.com or parentingteensthatstruggle.com. This is one that came out through therapists. I believe I mention it in my parenting masterclass, but I do not go into detail. You're going to get the details today and here. I utilize this strategy a lot. And the main reason why the one thing strategy is effective is because it helps the client, the family. It helps people get through the change cycle faster. And you know, the change cycle, there's pre-contemplation, contemplation, on and on all the way through maintenance, right? There's like 5 or 6 stages of change. And being someone who began his career motivating teenagers with martial arts, with teen rites of passage programs, summer camp, leadership opportunities, things like that, there's a big difference between motivation and therapy. Motivating a teenager who is a drug addict, motivating them to feel and experience the idea that they could do anything with their life is not therapeutic. It can backfire. When it does, it backfires spectacularly. Now, I'm not saying that we tell them, well, you can't do anything in life. We just save that for when they're in a more recovery and then an exploration process. Let me break some things down for you. Let's say that there are 4 stages to somebody's ability to be involved in life. Okay, there is dysfunction, which is minimal participation. It's survival mode. There is recovery, and this is the therapeutic or coaching process back from dysfunction to stage 3, exploration. This is where we are stretching ourselves beyond our limitations. We're practicing being uncomfortable. It's artistic. It's yogic. It is us being very present with the expansion of life and our bodies. And then there's unity. That's the 4th stage. That's the spiritual stage. That's not something that I personally believe can be taught. And I think people mix up these 4 stages, dysfunction, recovery, exploration, and unity. I think they mix up these stages. So let's go to stage 1, dysfunction. Life is at a full stop. School's not happening with your kids. Work's not happening with you. The relationship's not happening. You're in survival mode. The kid's in survival mode. Fight, flight, freeze, faint, fornicate, feed, and fun. All 7 of them. And there are 7 F's now. And the more we learn about the brain, those survival F's, fight, flight, freeze, faint, fornicate, feed, and fun, are going to keep expanding. And maybe I'll be the person who finds the F word for it. Survival mode is a tough place to parent from. It's an impossible place to grow from. We do not grow well in survival mode. The limbic brain, the limbic system, the lizard brain, all of those things are survival mode. You're surviving. That's it. you're barely making it through the day. That's a crappy way to live life. Recovery mode is when we've begun a process of changing our lives. And it's very important that you understand that recovery mode is a process. Therapy, coaching, the 12 steps. It is a step-by-step process of getting your life back, of creating a strategy that allows you to function in the day-to-day without being in survival mode. And it's practice, and it takes a while, minimum 3 months of daily practice, right? You decide that your health is dysfunctional, so you start going to the gym. 3 months in, your body craves the gym. 3 months in, your body tells you if you don't go, it doesn't want you to miss. The habit has flipped. Before your habit was not going, now your habit's going. 3 months minimum. I know, that sucks. 3 months minimum of daily practice. This is the therapeutic process of change. It's a hard jump from recovery. It's a hard jump to get to recovery from dysfunction, but people make it all the time. We generally set our New Year's resolutions as a way to jump from dysfunction to recovery. After recovery comes exploration. Once you get past recovery mode, right? You feel good. Let's stick with the exercise concept. You feel good. You start looking good. You like how you look. You like how you feel. And now you decide to join a Tough Mudder or a Spartan race, and you push an edge. You decide that you're actually going to fit into size blankety blank jeans instead of the 36s that I'm currently wearing. You're going to push down to a 34, and you're going to go for it. You're going to start going every day or twice a day, or, ride your bike to the gym and then work out and then ride your bike home, right? You are finding an edge. You are finding a yogic expansion to what you are already doing. This is exploration, where you're looking for something new, something more, something artistic, valuable, edgy, little bit of a risk. Then there's the unity process, the spiritual process. Right? That's between you and the divine. I'm not gonna indulge in that conversation with you. That's between you and the divine. Let's stick to our lane here and talk about the one thing strategy. The one thing strategy, and this is what today's call is about the one thing strategy. And parents who are listening, teachers, clinicians who are listening, employ this strategy. It frickin' works. It's amazing. I've used it with harm reduction. I've used it with total sobriety, depression, anxiety, mental health issues. I have a friend who deals with bipolar, and we go through the process. I was just dealing with a guy out of Germany the other day whose life has just hit a wall. One thing strategy. Here's the basic breakdown of the one thing strategy to help us move from dysfunction into a recovery process. The one thing strategy is recovery process. It's stage 2. One thing every day that is different from yesterday. That's all you got to do. And it sounds so simple. Now, I believe the first time I saw this concept was a book called The Slight Edge. And I'm going to look up real quick who wrote The Slight Edge, because The Slight Edge was a very popular book back in the 90s, early 2000s when it first came out. There it is. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Now, I have over the years bought a lot of copies of this book because we used to give this to all our kids in the treatment program. And what Jeff Olson said, what in a nutshell, what his book is about is the conversation that coffee and donuts for breakfast won't kill you. Coffee and donuts every day for breakfast will kill you. One cigarette never hurt anybody. Regular habituated smoking kills people. One push-up never changed anybody's fitness level. One push-up a day. Now that leads to something else. In the same way that fast food once a day starts to lead to other things, right? Chemical changes in the body, huge chemical swings in our blood sugar levels that creates cravings and we want more. The chemicals in the food themselves. The one thing strategy slowly begins to change things. Somebody, some therapist along the way after Jeff Olson's book came out, and it's a good book. It's one of those little 90-page business card books that really nailed it. Huge props and shout outs to Jeff Olson. I have teenagers employing the one thing strategy and with a push-up, a simple push-up, do one push-up. And they do one push-up and you say, great, you're done for the day. You don't have to do anything else. You and your anxiety, you and your depression can crawl right back into bed and spend the rest of the day on YouTube. You did one thing today that was different from yesterday. Now here's the rule. Tomorrow, do something else. One thing. Don't care how small it is. And folks, parents, listen to me very carefully because this is the key here. You think the one thing has to be big, but that's the motivation talking. That's not the therapeutic intervention. Therapy requires a safe space for transition, which means the moment you look at your kid who's smoking pot every day and you go, you got to stop, their pot dragon is going to come flying into the room. The moment you look at those arms or those legs that they've been cutting and you say, you have to stop, their cutting dragon comes flying into the room and fights you. But what if you said to the teenager, let's do one thing completely different today. And it doesn't matter how small it is. Clean your desk. Just clean your desk off. Put your laundry in the hamper. Vacuum the bathroom. Drink an extra glass of water. Do one push-up. It doesn't matter how small it is. It doesn't matter how insignificant, mom, dad, that you think it is. What matters is we've begun to prepare the body for change. And that's the key. That is the key. Now, you don't have to believe me. And I know a lot of you are going to want to run and try to implement this on your kids themselves today. Start with you. You have a list of things you want to change too, that you're struggling to change too. This is the nature of being human. We're going to stop calling this a problem and we're going to start calling it a human. Because this is what it's like. We get habituated. Our life is the sum total of our habituated patterns. Our habits create our life. Yeah, sure, some big moment of transition, change, or chaos can also change our lives, right? God forbid you find yourself in a devastating, automobile situation and your life can change forever, but those are not the everyday moments. The everyday moments are the small habits. So let's take that philosophy and say, what if we did one thing, seemingly insignificant each day, that allows our body to practice changing? What would that be like in a week? Well, you got to stick with it. Of course you do. But this is why you start with yourself. I know we want to run into the kids' room and say, I got an idea later. This one starts with you. So that you can understand how it works. So that you can understand the temptations to avoid it or the fact that you forget, because it's going to show up, that forgetfulness, that avoidance, because you got a dragon too. And the moment you say, all right, dragon, I'm going to change, the dragon's like, are you kidding me? We have a deal. We have a contract. I keep you safe. You have a habit. This habit comforts you when you feel uncomfortable. That's our agreement. You want to change this? Oh, baby, it's on. It's fight time. and the dragon comes swinging back. That's why when you go to your kid and you say something huge, like maybe we need treatment, maybe you should just go quit cold turkey, maybe you just need to stop, maybe you just need to get it through your thick head, that the kid's dragon fights you. The one thing strategy works because it's seemingly small and insignificant, but it's connected to changing our neural pathways in the brain. Brush your teeth with the opposite hand. Walk down the steps backwards while holding onto the hand railing. Just one thing each day different. Watch what happens. Track it. Pay attention in your own body. Here's what I notice when I use this with the teens and the young adults. I got this 18-year-old client who's been using the one thing strategy for a while. It becomes two things. It becomes three things. It becomes a big thing in a day. He starts with one push-up, and a week later, he says, well, I'm going to call the gym. And instead of calling the gym, he goes to the gym. Instead of just visiting, he signs up. All on his own. I didn't have to say anything, but I get to celebrate it. Now, the celebration piece is very important. Even if all they did was drink an extra glass of water and then go back to bed, you got to celebrate this. Because we are training the brain that change is good. Change feels good. Change creates reward. This is a slow, sometimes painstaking process. Sometimes it moves very rapidly because the kid likes the experience. And sometimes this is you saying, instead of smoking pot 7 days a week, can we do 6? Sometimes that's the level of compromise, but that's what it gets to. Right now, this 18-year-old client I have, he's on 2 sober days a week. 2 sober days a week. And you know what? He works outside now every day of the week. He works outside on the ski slopes teaching. You know what he was doing before the one thing strategy? He was sitting in his room all day long, smoking pot, watching YouTube videos, being depressed and anxious. Am I bummed he's still smoking pot? Yeah. So's he. Do I think that if he just buckled down? No, I don't. I think that if he buckles down, I think if he goes to put extra effort in, his dragon will come back and fight him. And I don't think he's strong enough to beat his dragon. And that creates shame, that creates guilt. And guilt and shame are the twin pillars of addiction. It will make it worse. So we're going to take it one thing at a time. Now, this works with depression because very slowly we're just doing something different each day. I cleaned my desk yesterday, and that's what I get. I get these texts from these kids. I cleaned my desk yesterday. Awesome, you rock. What did you do for the rest of the day? Usually I get, I went back to bed and watched videos. Gotcha. What's your one thing for tomorrow? Well, tomorrow I'm going to vacuum. Great. Let me know when you're done vacuuming. You're doing amazing. And you keep it simply sacred. It's hard. Mom, dad, teacher, clinician, I know it's so hard listening to the strategy like this, but this is what the therapist gets trained in. You want to know what makes therapy different than coaching? I'm telling you right now, safe step-by-step process so as not to re-injure the old wound. I want you to think, let's go back to the physical model of the one thing strategy. You come out of back surgery, right? And you are fragile because before back surgery, you couldn't get up without help. You were having trouble go to the bathroom. You were dysfunctional. Remember that stage? Life doesn't work. Now, all of a sudden, you enter into a therapeutic process. Step by step, one thing each day different for your back. No bending, no lifting, no twisting, but small stretching exercises, not designed to hurt you, but designed to help you feel safe and to start to wake up those muscles that have been dormant or misused or injured because of your back. Now imagine that during your recovery process, the therapeutic process, you go to yoga class and the yoga teacher says, great, downward dog, doesn't like your position, walks up to you, puts her hands on your back and shoves you to the floor. Re-injury. This is why we have these different stages. Dysfunction, recovery, exploration, unity. Unity with our body. Our body's unity with our mind and spirit and finances. Exploration is yoga. Quit trying to push your kid. Quit trying to push yourself into exploration when you are fresh off the dysfunction choo-choo. Right? You get off the dysfunction choo-choo at recovery station. And there it is a step-by-step, slow, painstaking process where you utilize these skills subtly and simply, because the moment you compromise safety, you will rush back to dysfunction. Why? Because that's what humans do. Now, add to that human behavior. Add drugs, alcohol, depression, anxiety, bipolar, ADHD, self-harm, suicidality, failing school, getting bullied, total stress over the fact that 2 weeks ago you heard of another school frickin' shooting, and guess what? Next week you've got to practice what to do in case a shooter comes into your school. I mean, come on. Safety is challenged. Are these kids really less resilient? Are they? Or are they suffering trauma and in a fragile environment? The one thing strategy creates a very simple cooperative recovery process where they come up with a list of seemingly innocuous things, and they do one of them each day. And it prepares the body slowly and safely for change. Before you run and employ these on your kiddos, practice on yourself. Find the big thing that you want to change and begin a one-thing strategy. My new book is out. It's called The Four Prime Archetypes: Why We Do What We Do. I have spent 25 years researching, getting proof of concept, and diving deep into archetypal symbology to create this book. This has been a passion, a love, I was ready to throw in the towel because I'm not a writer. And then a friend who I met while I was teaching at an adult warrior camp came along, and I said, you know what? She is the right person to be the editor. She became the co-author. Martina and I have finished. It is up on Amazon. I know you're going to love the book because it basically answers the question: are you a warrior? Are you a wizard? Are you a jester? Maybe you're a bard. And what that means. It's called The Four Prime Archetypes: Why We Do What We Do. I know you're going to love it. It's going to help you in your parenting, in your marriage, and with your kiddos, and in any relationship you need to nurture. It's what it was designed for. Please go check it out on Amazon. And when you read it, and if you really like it, drop us a review. As always, make sure you listen to the Beyond Risk and Back podcast. Thank you very much for being here on these training sessions. Remember, there are 5 things you're going to work on. This is your homework. Number 1, sleep. Focus on your sleep. If you ain't sleeping, you're struggling. Number 2, eat nutritious food. If you can't buy the organic stuff, then you need to be cooking. That's where the magic is, in your cooking or in the organics. Number 3, Drink more water. We know this. We don't have to talk about this, but we need the reminder. Drink more water. Drink 1 extra glass of water today. Number 4, move your body. Sitting is the new smoking. Get your butt up and out. And number 5, breathe on purpose. Take 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 15 minutes, whatever. But focus on your breathing and breathe on purpose. Those are 5 things we do accidentally all day long. But I will tell you, we will never, ever accidentally be good parents. Sleeping, eating, drinking water, moving our bodies, and breathing on purpose. That's how we take our life back. That's how we take our home back. That's how we get our kids back. I'll see you next time.